Hi there, Mitch Gross, Cinema Product Manager, and I'm here to talk about EVA-Live, part of our new firmware release, a new concept that we have for use with the EVA cameras. So the EVA-Live, people are using production cameras more and more in live type configurations where they're able to do a studio style production, but using a camera that was originally designed for production work, on the shoulder or running around on a tripod perhaps, but not in a studio style configuration. So it's been sort of an adaptive situation. Our sort of classic, typical setup might be something like this, where you have a Canon servo zoom lens on the front with some cables so that you have some controllers for it, for focus and zoom, whether from Canon or from a third-party company like VeriZoom. Then you stick a monitor on the top, and then the way we've been able to communicate with the camera has been with our little wireless dongle, the WM50, and then using an app on your iPad or Android tablet. And that's fine in a sort of a limited function way, for a basic way to work, but it's not a full production system. It's not a full studio style way of working, and people really wanted to have the controllability while still getting the image quality of a Super 35 sensor and the look that you get out of that camera, and wanted to do it economically. So with our latest firmware, EVA 3.0, that's where we developed our EVA-Live concept. Now, EVA 3.0, just to go over real quick, had a number of new firmware options, new functions. The first being the ability to record 4K in 10-bit up to 60 frames a second using HEVC codecs, H.265 format. That's in addition to the other formats that we already recorded on the camera. It has that available. Another thing is Quick Switch. Quick Switch is the ability to remap the camera and all the functions on it very quickly, so that you have what's called a setup file, and it's every single setting on the camera, and you can quickly switch from one mode to the other with just a couple of button pushes using a shortcut in the menu system. This actually is quite important in a live production mode as well, because this is a way that you could change your frame rate on the camera and get a different kind of look. We have many churches and other houses of worship that like to go from having a sort of a live look of 60 frames a second to then maybe there's a musical performance and they might want to have a more cinematic kind of look, or maybe they've just changed the lighting quickly for a new moment, a new part of their show, and you want to compensate on the camera so that you have a consistent look coming out of the camera. You can very quickly and easily do that using the quick switch system. And then lastly, there's EVA-Live. And EVA-Live is what I'm really here to talk about today. That's going to be the functionality of having multi-cam control of these cameras, these economical Super 35 camera systems, and being able to use them in a multi-cam system so that it's for live broadcast or near live type production situations. So let's look at what it means. EVA-Live means that you're wired, as opposed to a wireless Wi-Fi dongle. Now you're able to communicate directly to the camera through a hardwire configuration. Now, from Panasonic, as a straightforward way to do that, we just have these very inexpensive Wi-Fi adapters to go from USB to Ethernet or LAN, local area network, and now you're just on a regular Ethernet cable. You can take that and go straight to the tablet again. So you have a tablet which has an Ethernet adapter on its head, on the end down there, and now you're a hardwire, so you have a confident, consistent connection between them. But then we've also expanded this to work with third-party systems. So now you could take that same hardwire connection and you're able to go to complete control boxes, to the remote control panel, or RCP, also known as a shader or a coloring box, or however you want to term it. These controllers are going to allow complete control over the camera system. So we have a couple different manufacturers we're working with. The first is Scarhoy. And Scarhoy, this is actually two of their controllers just shown side by side. two different versions. You can get it with a slider, or you can get it with your traditional joystick type control. That's going to control your iris, and of course, as you also rotate it, it's going to control your black level, your pedestal. You have lots of other controls that are built into this system, and it's addressable. So you have different ways you can program on this this box. So you have lens control, you have RGB control with master pedestal, you have linear matrix, you have a 16-point Poggle color matrix control. So it's very, very powerful to match your different cameras out and really be able to have them communicate together so that you're going to have a consistent look between them. Gamma, white clip, detailing, you can change frame rates, you can change your exposure index and shutters and ND level, actually rotating the ND filters in the camera remotely from the panel. Scene files that you program into the camera beforehand, you can control that to switch quickly between different modes, different setups that you have already set up on the camera, so that you again can quickly go from one look to another depending on what might be happening with the subjects that you're photographing. And then you have a trigger and tally, and the whole thing can be powered over Ethernet using PoE. So this way you have a complete control system with the camera, all done remotely in a very much of a production format. Another company we're working with is CyanView, and CyanView is similar. It has, I sort of listed the different controls here and I broke it down in a slightly different way, but it's basically the same thing. You have the similar level of image controls and camera controls built into this remote control box. The difference with a Skarhoy and a CyanView is that the CyanView is designed primarily to use one controller to control multiple cameras. So you can quickly scroll. If you looked at the bottom here, you can just switch between different cameras very quickly so that you could have one control box and you can quickly scroll your way through the different cameras so that you can make adjustments on them, and that's a small economical system. For people who might want to do multiple controls and have lots of different things going on with their the things that they're photographing, their subjects, they might prefer to have the Skarhoy system where you would have one controller for each camera and do those and just line them up next to each other. So the Skarhoy is actually more economical per controller, and if you would have the CyanView, if you had, say, 3 cameras, if you just wanted one controller, that's more economical to have that than the Skarhoy. It's really about a workflow. That's how you want to use them. They're both very inexpensive, and the combination with the EVA-1 camera system makes for a complete system, which is very affordable and yet very, very powerful. And then lastly, I'm also showing the Vinton Vantage pan tilt head system, which we have set up in the booth here it's actually set up with the CyanView at the moment. So you can use these in conjunction with one another. You can have one Ethernet cable going to your pan tilt head and another Ethernet cable going to the camera, and they can be controlled separately so that the two systems can work integrated and be part of a complete system. Or if you choose, you can have the camera being directly controlled through the Vinton Vantage system. And so in that way, you're going to have some basic controls available on the camera by way of the Vinton Vantage system, or with a special new cable system they worked out where you can control these servo lenses, the Canon 18-80 or the 70-200. Then you have some additional controls of that lens through the camera by way of the Vinton Vantage system. So the camera, the EVA-1 integrates into all of these different control systems to work, and what we call the EVA-Live system. Does anyone have any questions? All right. Well, thank you very much. We do have all of these systems built up and available, showing in our Sports Live area, the Skarhoy system for EVA-1 Live. We have the CyanView system, as well as the Vinton Vantage. Thanks.